Hey guys, Chicago injury lawyer Scott DeSalvo here, and traffic is terrible. I'm on my way into work, and I thought I was reading my YouTube comments from viewers, and one comment in particular stood out to me. Now, this is how you know I'm legit, and I'm not just about the dollars, and I'm actually about helping people. This topic is not the best topic to get injured people interested who might call me to hire me. It's actually a topic on the other end of it, but I think you might benefit knowing both sides of the coin here. So, what's the topic? The topic is, what if I cause a crash and I don't have insurance, or I have crappy insurance and the other person got a serious injury? Or another way to think about it is, what is the claims process when I get hurt and somebody else has bad or no insurance, right? So here's how it works. Okay, so let's say you're driving down the road, you get into a crash with somebody, and it's completely their fault. Let's say it's a rear ender. You know, the rear ender in a car crash case is like the most obvious one, and lawyers always think of it as a case where it's going to be 100% liability on the guy in behind, right? So, in situations like that, unless there's some extenuating circumstance, somebody's backing up down the road, it's at night and their lights are off, they stop in the middle of the expressway at night around a curve with no lights on, they pull over to the shoulder, but they're half on the road and half off the road. You know, there are exceptions to the general rule that a rear ender is always 100% the fault of the car in behind. But for our purposes, that's what we'll talk about, right? So, let's say, God forbid, you need a back surgery. Your medical bills are $110,000 before you can go back to work, and you're as good as you're going to get, and you're going to have some permanent pain and problems in your back. Okay, so let's say that's what the case is about, and let's say it's 100% the other guy's fault. So what happens if the other guy has no insurance at all? Okay, now this answers the question of the person who says, I caused the crash, I don't have insurance, right? I'm just doing it from the other direction. Most car insurance companies have what's called uninsured motorist coverage on them. In the state of Illinois, they have to offer it to you. You can refuse it, but you know, it's required to be packaged in the, you know, substandard insurance companies were insuring people and not offering them uninsured motorist coverage or underinsured motorist coverage, and you know, they got in trouble for it, so they don't do that anymore. They were able to offer people low insurance rates because they were selling them an insurance policy that didn't really do anything for them. So anyway, long and short of it is, if you really had no insurance and you caused the crash, the injured person can recover from their own insurance company under underinsured motorist coverage. But let's say they have $110,000 in medical bills, but they only have a $25,000 insurance policy. Well, that means they can collect $25,000 from their own insurance policy, their own uninsured motorist provision, but $25,000 is not $110,000, right? And it's not $300,000-$400,000, which is what a case like this might otherwise go for, because major surgery, major medical bills, major time off work, and permanent problems, right? It's a big case. So then the injured person and their lawyer have a few options. So this is what I do. I do an asset search on the person driving the car. I find out, is the owner of the car the same as the driver of the car? And then I look for, do they own property? Do they have any professional licenses, such as lawyer, doctor, nurse, beautician, you know, whatever it is, right? Anything that's licensed in the state of Illinois. Then I look for how many and what kind of vehicles do they own. Do they own any rental or income property? Are they the owner of any corporations or businesses? Do they own a boat or an airplane? These are all indications as to whether a person is wealthy, right? Whether they're rich. And if they're rich or well-to-do, then it may be that we're going to be able to go directly to them. Because, look, as a general rule, if somebody causes a crash and they don't have enough insurance and you're hurt really bad, if there's, and you sue them beyond the insurance policy, and they don't have assets, they don't have any money, they don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out, right? You sue them, they go to court and file for bankruptcy. And then as soon as they file for bankruptcy, all collection efforts against them stop, and any claim, including your injury claim against them, gets wiped out. That's if it's a Chapter 7. If it's a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, that means they have some assets, but your lawsuit would completely wipe them out. And what would happen then is you're probably going to end up getting nothing, or you might end up getting, a small monthly payment for, 3 to 5 years, and then they discharge the rest of the debt in bankruptcy. And, that would depend on their situation in the bankruptcy. How much debt do they have? How much income do they have? That's how that works. So it is usually the case that the average person who's driving around with no insurance or very low insurance, it's the same situation if you think about it, with somebody who has bad insurance. Let's say it's the same scenario. A person runs into you and they've got $25,000 in coverage. You have $25,000 in coverage. You have $110,000 in medical bills and permanent problems with your back, okay? Well, in that situation, you collect their $25,000 and their insurance says, okay, well, we paid the limits, we're not responsible anymore. And it's the same thing. Their insurance pays the limits. If you sue them for $500,000 and they don't have assets, they run to bankruptcy court and file a Chapter 7 or file a Chapter 13. Now, there's exceptions to that, right? One exception is, the biggest one is if they're driving under the influence. So if they run into you because they're drunk or high, which is not that easy to prove in a civil case, but if there's a successful criminal prosecution, it makes our job a lot easier, especially if they plead guilty to it, then they can't discharge their personal debt. But I have a question for you. If you've got somebody who's drunk driving or driving under the influence and rear-ends you, and they're driving an older car, and they've only got the state minimum in Illinois, $25,000 in insurance coverage, what do you think the odds are that that person has any money to pay you? Chances are they live in an apartment, they don't have renter's insurance, that car is the only car they own, and so yeah, could you go to court, avoid bankruptcy? Yeah, every time they change jobs, you have to refile go back to court, find where they're working, hunt them down, get them served by the sheriff, and then enter a modified order. And the judge is going to look at their living expenses and their income, and if they've got no fat in their budget, you're not getting anything. The judge will order them to pay you $5 a month, $10 a month. And so chasing people down like that is usually just not worth it. And that's why most injury lawyers don't do it, okay? So let's talk about the flip side, because this question really came to me from a guy who said, well, what if I caused the crash and I didn't have insurance, and they're claiming that the guy is really hurt bad. I'll be honest with you, if that's the circumstance, you need to hire a lawyer in your jurisdiction, right? So all of my videos are shot from the perspective of Illinois law, because that's where I practice, that's what I know best. And most states have similar laws. But in areas like this, one little wrinkle can change a yes answer to a no answer, right? It can change a do it to a don't do it. And that's why you need to talk to a local lawyer in your jurisdiction about things like this, and not just rely on what I say in a YouTube video or otherwise, right? So this is the advice I'd give to somebody in that circumstance. They had no car insurance, or they had a low dollar car insurance, and the other person's hurt really bad. I would say that the first thing you need to do, is talk to a local lawyer, explain the circumstance, and ask them what to do. Make sure it's somebody who has some miles on the odometer, somebody who's been around the block a couple of times, who will actually give you good advice, right? That advice may include a couple of different things. One is, if you have assets and a good job, you have a house, you have kids, you're trying to save for their college, you got a little boat, you have a little lake house that you bought with other members of your family, so you're not rich, but you're doing pretty well. In other words, you have assets and a good income. Let's say you make $100K a year, $80K a year. That's way above average. So, at least as the time of this shooting, that's a good income, and they'll garnish your wages. They'll go to court, they'll garnish your wages, and if you go to court and file bankruptcy, it's going to screw up your credit, and you'll probably only qualify for a Chapter 13, where it's a payment plan over the course of several years. And if there's fat in your budget, the Chapter 13, the bankruptcy trustee can say, look, you have assets here, we're going to have to liquidate, pay off your, they can force you to sell stuff. They can force you to turn over property. So bankruptcy is not an option for you. Bankruptcy, look, if you're young, you have no assets, you're just starting out in life, and somebody wants to sue you for, hundreds of thousands of dollars, it may very well be legit. You might need to file bankruptcy, and you'll recover from it relatively quick because you're young. By the time you are actually making decent money, in all likelihood, the bankruptcy will be more or less cleared off your credit report. It's not going to be a big deal. But this is the importance of having good auto insurance with a reputable company. You can't go to one of these substandard insurance companies because it's going to save you $40 a month. I mean, I did not grow up with money. I did not grow up in a family with money, and I was working multiple jobs when I was going to law school. So I know how, and back then things were lean. I mean, there was times where the 69-cent, well, it was 69 cents back then, where the 69-cent Taco Bell burrito was dinner because I could find some change. And I was living paycheck to paycheck. But that was that was years and years ago. So, anyway, the advice to make sure you have good auto insurance with high limits, make sure you get at least $100,000 in limits. Honestly, it doesn't cost that much more than state minimum. Make sure you're dealing with one of the major national insurance companies, not some local insurance company whose name nobody's ever heard of, who advertises on the radio or on TV as having the cheapest rates ever, or they're online where you type your info in and they're going to insure you for $11 a month because it's a scam, right? You're paying a low dollar amount for car insurance, but you're getting nothing in return if you get into a crash like this. So that's my basic advice. I can't tell you what to do, not knowing what state you're in, but in the state of Illinois, you should still talk to a lawyer about it. Is this video ever in a million years going to result in a person who's injured in an accident calling me to represent him? Not a chance. But this was still super important information for you to have, so that you know what happens if, God forbid, your insurance was lapsed, right? And I'm happy to, if you have a question about any of this, or even better, if you or a loved one has been involved in an accident, any kind of accident involving an injury, whether it's a car crash, motorcycle, bicycle, truck, bus, train, or a work injury, dog bite, bar fight, nursing home abuse, hospital injury, doctor mistake, any of that, you can always call me toll free anytime, night or day, 500-312-500-4500. Free to talk to me. I do rank the calls, so if somebody's calling me about a new case, they're the ones who get the call back. And if your call is just, Scott, I want to talk to you about my case that already settled because I want your opinion on it, once your case is over, the chance of me being able to do anything for you, close to zero. Chance for me to earn a living talking to you about it on the phone for an hour, I'm never going to make any money on that. I like to help people, but please be patient. If it's just if you're wanting a call back on something that, some other lawyer already made the money on and you want to commiserate with me, I'm happy to explain things and help you, but it's going to be a lower priority call for me just out of necessity, okay? So anyway, hope this information helped you. Check out the links in the description. I got great tools on my website, like the Case Cash Calculator. Tells you in 15 seconds flat what your case might be worth. Or the Good Case Calculator. It's another free tool on my website. Getting a lot of positive feedback. Tells you whether you might have a good case or a case with some challenges. As I said, links in the description. Check them out. And what else? If you enjoy my videos and you enjoy the advice, please subscribe. Hit the thumbs up, the like icon. It helps the videos get, YouTube gets that feedback and they send the video out to more people to check out, which is the name of the game. The more people who know the information that I'm giving, you're going to end up with a stronger injury case and more money in your pocket at the end of the day. And that's why I'm doing it. I talk to hundreds of people every year, and they get caught in the same damn traps these insurance companies set for people, and it hurts their case. And then at the end of the case, they're like, I heard it's like the lawsuit lottery. If you get hurt, you get millions of bucks. Well, don't work that way, unfortunately. Or fortunately, if you're not hurt, you don't deserve $1 million. But it, pisses me off when there are people who are hurt who have to accept far less than what they deserve because they fell into a trap, and that's why I shoot these videos. Well, I also shoot the videos so that people will hire me to be their injury lawyer, but, full disclosure. But, like, this topic is not a topic that's likely to lead me to a case, but one never knows, right? So anyway, hope you and the family are well. If you enjoy my stuff, please consider leaving me a 5-star review on Google. There's a link in the description. You just go there. It takes you right to the page. Click 5 stars, say a kind word, hit submit. 5 or 10 seconds of work for you, but a huge favor to me that I'd really appreciate. So once again, thanks for watching. I'll wrap it up now. I hope you have a great day. And if I can be of help, feel free to give me a call, 312-500-4500. Take care. Have a great day.